It's unfortunate that that's how my mom, phrased me as a person. I don't see those things, and I don't think anybody else sees those things, but if that's how she sees me, then, that's her point of view. If we met again one day, she would understand that, it's not the case.
Hey friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Friday, August 4th, 2023, and there was a bomb that was just dropped on Instagram, and it's coming from Jon Gosselin's ex-girlfriend, Colleen, and it's about Colin, and all is not what it seems, and I am stunned. First of all, it's good things for Colin in that she defended him, but some of the things that she revealed are kind of shocking, given that for the last couple of years, Jon Gosselin has been saying that he has full custody of Colin, and Colin and Hannah are living with him. And the truth is that, according to Colleen, when Jon and her split up in 2021, Colin stayed with her and lived with her, not with Jon, until he turned 18 and then he got his own place. So Colin didn't move out when Jon moved out. Colin stayed with Colleen, helped Colleen through her cancer, and it was Jon that moved out with Hannah. This is something I wasn't expecting, and I'm sure part of it could have been related to their high school and maybe not wanting to have to change high schools, although that doesn't make a lot of sense because Hannah stayed with her dad. But let's dive into this because she defended Colin against Kate, and she slammed literally everything that Kate said about Colin to every single aspect of it. Like, she debunked everything that Kate said, which I was standing up and I was here for. And if you know anything about Colleen, Colin actually did a huge shout out to her in his graduation post, more than he did to his dad. And it's been always very clear that he has a very close relationship with her. So let's dive into today's topic. Before we do, can you please do me a big favor and give this video a thumbs up? Also, please subscribe to my channel if you have not yet subscribed by clicking on the subscribe button down below. Click on the bell so you can get notified if I go live or new content loads. If you have something to say, make sure to say it, and share this video with your friends. Okay, Jon Gosselin has done a ton of interviews in the last several years, and he's always giving updates about Colin and sort of discussing what's been going on with Colin and treatment with Colin. And he was living with Colleen, and they were together for 7 years. Colleen was with Jon when Colin was removed from the facility and brought into their place. Colleen and Jon were living together. And so when Colin came out of the facility, Colleen was in many ways like a surrogate mom to him. In fact, a couple years ago on Mother's Day, Colin actually penned a tribute to Colleen about her being a mom to him. And he said, turns out today is Mother's Day. Today we pay love forward to our mothers, but I don't think mother can describe all the things Colleen has done for me. Yes, a mother clothes her children and cooks for them, but it's the best feeling when your mother or mother figure is one of your best friends and always has your back. The one that always shares the laugh of the humor only you guys get. I could call it Mother's Day, but it's more than that. Colleen, you are so much more than a mother to me. You are one of my guidelines and one of my guiding lights. Thank you doesn't say enough. I love you so much, and you've done so much for me that claims you my strong, happy, loving, and awesome mother figure. You're irreplaceable. Thank you so much, Colleen. I love you so much. And when her and Jon broke up, Jon did say that Colin struggled quite a bit with that because he was very attached to Colleen. And Colleen posted to her Instagram just this afternoon that once Jon and her split up, Colin actually continued to live with her and he didn't move out with Jon. So this is what she said. I recently learned of derogatory statements made about Collin Gosselin, and I felt compelled to defend him. These statements were made by family members who have been estranged from his life since he was 12. Colin is not only someone I love dearly, but has also been a significant figure in my family's life. He is currently at boot camp for the Marines, and he is unable to defend himself. After Jon and I separated and Jon moved out, Colin lived with me until he turned 18, and so I saw him every day. He thrived and was always kind and respectful. He never talked back to me. He was never violent and is far from being considered dangerous. He is there for me when I need him, even bringing me white roses every time he visits. I could tag a multitude of people who have spent time with Colin, and they would all attest to what an amazing person he is. He has overcome more challenges than any one person should ever have to endure. Despite being institutionalized for 3 years alone with only 3 visits from his mother and not receiving proper education, he received a 4.0 GPA and won the highest GPA award at his ROTC banquet. I am so incredibly proud of his accomplishments. Colin's dream to join the Marines seemed impossible given his background, but he never gave up. He went off all medication 2 years ago and continued to thrive in school and working jobs. He sought private psychiatric evaluations as an adult that disproved all previous diagnoses. It was his determination that led him to the Marines, where he's now fulfilling his dream. He wouldn't be there if he hadn't proved those diagnoses wrong. I have received letters from Colin during his time in boot camp, and he admits that it is challenging, but he is happy and proud to be there. He is a testament to strength and courage, and I'm honored to have him in my life. Colin will always be a part of my family, and I'll support him no matter what comes our way. That's what family does. The truth about Colin's character deserves praise, not unfounded accusations from those estranged from his life. And she shared a ton of photos with Colin and herself. So she is, if you recall, Kate Gosselin said that Colin had all kinds of psychiatric diagnoses. She said that he was not able to thrive with Colin and with his dad and Hannah, that he was still unpredictable and violent and had a questionable, ability to remember the truth. Like he had distorted perceptions of reality. So Colleen here is saying that he lived with me. He didn't talk back. He was never violent. He went on to get a 4.0 in high school, despite not being properly educated while Kate illegally or unethically institutionalized him. He went off medication to see if he could find a way into the military because that was his dream. He still continued to thrive in his education. He has the highest GPA ever in his ROTC graduating class, and he went and sought his own psychiatric evaluations after he became an adult. So outside of Jon, Colin went to a psychiatrist to get evaluated. And they found that he had none of the diagnoses that Kate claimed that he had. Disproved it. So he had a clear medical record. He didn't need the medication that he was on. He was able to thrive. He's currently at boot camp. He's always been respectful to her and lived with her. That was kind of the part that I thought was kind of weird. Like, Jon made it seem that once he and Colleen split, that he and the kids moved and they left each other. Like, so they were living in Colleen's house, and Jon said he and the kids moved out, and he said it was best for everyone. Recently, in a article, Jon introduced his new girlfriend, who looks lovely, by the way. And he had mentioned that they were renting right now, and it was perfect because they had both sold their homes. And not to nitpick on this, but I did look into Jon's background, and he hasn't owned a house at all since he and Kate owned one together. The last home he owned was the home that he and Kate purchased right before they got divorced. And he, as far as I could tell from a property standpoint, hasn't owned a property since, unless he was putting them under a trust name, but I highly doubt that. So Jon had been renting and was living in Colleen's home before all of this took place. So Jon definitely has his own demons, and I think he'll admit to that. And I think he was extremely valuable to Colin. But it's interesting that Colin bonded a lot with Colleen, so much so that he didn't want to leave her and stayed with her. And it could have been that sense of normalcy for him, and that he was attached to her, and that he wanted that routine. It could have been a lot of reasons. Maybe they felt like it would be healthier for him to not disrupt what he had gone through. Clearly, she and Jon are not on bad terms, because obviously she's still in Colin's life. And when Colin graduated from high school, he actually praised Colleen quite a bit in his message to her in his graduation post. So he actually shared a picture of him with Colleen, and he thanked Hannah, Colleen, and his dad. So he said, "I want to first thank my amazing sister Hannah for standing by me and supporting me. She's my number one. I would like to thank my dad, who has taught me so much about running into hard times and moving past them, about resilience. Thank you, Dad, for always supporting my decisions and having my back when I bite off more than I can chew. I'd like to thank Colleen for rooting for me day in and day out. When you think of someone you want by your side, you think of Colleen. And as I've told her many times, she is my motivator for being successful in the world." So it's clear that he views Colleen as like a mom, and it's clear that she views him like a son. And it's sweet that they stayed together and he lived with her after. And it honestly could have to do with high school. Maybe they didn't want to switch high schools. Maybe, I don't know. I have no idea. Jon had never publicly disclosed that Colin wasn't living with him until very recently. And he had made the comment that Colin was living on his own and then moved back with them for a couple days before he went back to basic training. And he's in basic training for the Marines. And this is not at all to discount the work that Jon did here. It just seems like it was more than just Jon that was instrumental in Colin getting to where he is. And perhaps there are people behind the scenes like Colleen that were doing a lot of the work too, and not going public about it. I mean, I think Jon had a need to defend his son and wanted to defend his son because his mom was continuing to slander him. And I think Jon had to do that because everyone in the public was wondering where Colin was and what happened to Colin, and Kate was continuing to be on reality television. But what I find really sweet about Colleen is that she's never been the kind of woman to seek out any sort of fame, any sort of attention. She's always been very much in the background, and even her quiet support of him here is just a testament to her character. And the fact that she is sticking up for him now is so incredibly sweet. And it actually just shows that she really does view him almost like a son. It's obvious that she knows Colin better than anyone. I mean, better than most. I mean, probably as good as Jon. And if he lived with her, she would know if he was violent. And so now you have his dad saying that this is untrue. You have Colleen saying this is untrue. You have friends of Colin's that are saying this is untrue. So Kate slandering Colin like this while he is at boot camp, to me, feels like a way because she knows that she can get to him and he can't defend himself. Kate was not able to communicate with him for years because of a no contact order. And now that he's an adult, I'm assuming that's been lifted. And so it's not coincidental to me that she used the opportunity of him being gone to respond. Because when he was around, she said nothing. But the minute he was away and couldn't communicate and had to put his focus on that, is clear that she, to me, did that. And on top of that, it almost seems like she did that as a way to try to disrupt him, further abuse him, and potentially get him to go AWOL or to, have a incident at boot camp which would cause him to get kicked out, so that she could then say to the public, see, he's a bad kid. And this is why, because look at what happened. He got kicked out of boot camp, but she initiated it by attacking him publicly, by accusing him of things, right? And thus far, that hasn't happened. So he's been doing well, and for all accounts, he's having, boot camp's not easy. Boot camp is designed to break you, and the Marines want to break people. They want the people that get through boot camp to be the ones that can make it. Lots of people don't get through boot camp. I have no doubt that Colin will get through boot camp because he has been through hell. And the fact that he literally went off meds, sought out his own psychiatrist, and got cleared medically should prove to people enough that Kate is a freaking liar. And Colleen works in healthcare. She's a nurse practitioner. She wouldn't lie about any of this. So go Colleen. I'm so glad that Colin has you in this corner. And shame on you, Kate. Shame on you. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.